Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. Camera flipped out for a second. Uh, but yeah, so like, and they have like the little cardboard cutouts of like the characters and everything. So I've also noticed that they are doing a lot more with movie adaptations for books.
I hate that. And like the teachers like talk about the differences between the book and the movie.
Right, yeah.
I really hate it when might be off track, but
No,
they make the cover the
Oh,
pictures
gosh.
of the people who star in the movie and that.
Right? Like, I love the Percy Jackson series. And so, like, I love that they're getting it more popular with the movies, but it's just like, I look at the cover, I'm like, why are they saying that's how I have to see Percy? Like, what if I saw him looking a lot different? Like, what if the kids saw him looking a lot more like themselves? But then now they're kind of being told, this is what Percy looks like. It's like, kind of almost takes the imagination out of it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so when I was in high school, early high school, I really liked Twilight. So don't judge me. But I had like this idea of Edward, Edward Cullen being like a lot more like darker hair, and I just had this very different look for him. And then the movie came out, and he was so much different from what I imagined. And then after I saw that movie, I couldn't go back to my imagination. I just saw the movie version. So I was like, oh, well, okay, I guess I don't really get to decide what they look like anymore. It's kind of takes the personal thing out of movies, so, or out of books, sorry. And then I've also seen like a lot of, like they've taken that toy book concept and really gone with it, like with releasing a lot of merchandise based off books. Like I said, like now there's even theme parks for books. Like in Universal Studios, oh my gosh, yeah, I just went there and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And so it's like I do like where they're going with that, where they're encouraging a lot more reading and letting kids kind of be a lot more involved in it. So and then there's toy brands that are making a lot more books, like Barbie, Lego, TV shows that are being more incorporated into books, and then a lot of graphic novels. So okay, I've rambled on enough about my chapter. So
Alright, so chapter 15 of Legend
Yeah.
of Zelda. So the thing that I was asked to focus on was like how I saw multicultural children's lit. And I kind of saw it as kind of like an eye-opening form of literature. It really helps like students to see what other cultures value, what they're like, where these people come from. And it's kind of means that through which we can bridge this gap between different cultures that are present within our classrooms.
yeah,
And it's, be it races, ethnicities, religions, or even they talked about like children, like just youth texts kind of thing, like what did they call it? Like youth culture or something?
youth culture, huh?
Or something along those lines, like
I can kind of imagine.
cultural
Authenticity,
bearing
yeah.
even the gap between like younger adults, young children, and things like that. Like,
Yeah.
It's not just bridging gaps between races and ethnicities and things like that.
I hadn't really
and
thought
there's-
about that.
Yeah,
cool.
I hadn't either. But yeah, it just kind of helps us see through another person's eyes, I guess, almost.
Yeah.
And like gain a better understanding of where people come from.
That's what
Yeah,
I had in
like-
mind.
I remember this one book. I'm sorry, I keep on rambling about these other books, but this one that really, I think that kids, especially in the American public school system, should read to get kind of that other perspective of their teachers, especially. Like, it was this one about that it was standardized testing time. And so, like, the kid is explaining it from his point of view, like, yeah, they put us in these classrooms, and we were made to sit there, and they gave us they gave out snacks, and then it's all the while you see like the teachers like being really strict, and like the kids kind of saying like the teachers seem on edge today, and it's like the whole entire time it's all from the kids, and they're just kind of like relaxed, going along with it, doing their little tests, and the teachers like really stressing out, and you see that in the illustrations. And then at the very end, the kids just go home, but then he looks in the teacher's lounge, and the teachers are just like having a party because it's all done. So I just thought that book did such a cool job of like showing the two different perspectives of standardized testing, and like a kid would read that and be like, wow, the teachers are really stressed out. That's interesting, not what I experienced. So I kind of like that youth culture and bridging those gaps between ages. So yeah, okay, so keep going. Sorry.
You're fine.
And like, I just thought of another. Like they talked about the deaf culture.
Death culture?
Deaf.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
like,
Death.
what?
No.
Are we like
Death.
incorporating
Because
ghosts
they
into our
really,
classroom
like-
now?
Like they really become and take ownership of like the fact that they are deaf, and it becomes like this whole culture, and they're proud of who they are and everything. So like seeing like where they come from as well.
Yeah. I had like the question of like why is it important to include multicultural literature and international books like in your classroom? And like part of me was like, well, everyone should have a little bit of something in a classroom. Like if you have that one kid who doesn't celebrate Christmas, like how are you going to like what kind of book can you give them so they can understand what Christmas is to somebody else?
Oh.
So that's kind of how I thought about it, and how it was important to like bring in different perspectives just so you can like see what it's like through someone else's eye, like how kind of we were talking about it. But I think it's important to bring in other people, other things.
Yeah, like kind of going off on holidays, like even reading books to the class about holidays they may not have known about. Like
Oh yeah.
I'd like to see more books about like what Cinco de Mayo really is, because I'm
yeah.
still confused about what Cinco de Mayo is. I just know like, yay, we
5th of May. It's
Yeah.
what it means, but what
Yeah.
does it really mean?
exactly. So it's like kind of teaching about all different cultures. I see what you're saying.
I was always like that awkward girl in class because I don't celebrate Christmas, and
Oh,
so
yeah?
people were like, why don't you celebrate Christmas? Like what? I just don't, guys. But then the teacher would like reach out to me and be like, oh, can you bring in something like of your own religion that like we can teach other kids about? And I was like, that's kind of like me writing my own book about my own perspective.
Oh, that's cool.
So I really like found that, because like at first I was like really sad that I like didn't celebrate Christmas because everyone else did. But it was nice that like other kids saw me and what I thought of Christmas. So like, I don't know, I know there's books like that would teach me what it's like to celebrate Christmas and things like that. But I knew that it would be hard to like teach others. But it's important.
Just curious, what do you celebrate, or do you celebrate?
I celebrate Hanukkah.
Oh, okay, cool.
So it's like
Oh,
the
right
one
on.
girl in class
Aw.
who doesn't. But it was still fun though, because then I could be like, I have 8 days.
Yeah,
Here's a one.
got nothing on me.
Exactly.
That's cool.
And they'd be like, I got all this stuff before you.
Oh, what, you haven't had your Christmas yet? Well,
Yeah. But no, it was definitely like eye-opening to just be different in the class. But I could see how it kind of helped the other kids understand what was going through my head. So, but yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
So, on chapter 15, I had the how has multicultural lit grown over the years. I had like a lot of history in my reading.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. I like history. It's fun. So they said that the need started with to kind of get rid of the long ingrained xenophobia. I just think it's such an interesting word. You know, like fear of anything that.
Foreign.
Yeah, like whatever's different from you. It's like.
Fear. Yeah.
Yeah, like shun the non-believer.
I got that shirt from China.
Oh gosh.
Whoa.
Yeah, have you ever seen those shirts? Like, you know how we'll have like shirts that say words in like Japanese on them? But I've seen that they do the same thing for English over in Japan. So it's like,
Yeah.
I think like one of them said like believe, and then another one just said like hopscotch or something like that. They're just like really random, like, oh, okay, you guys do it too, right on. But yeah, so it started with like the wanting to get rid of xenophobia. And so books in the past treated other ethnicities poorly, or just maybe even worse, just completely ignored them. Like they just weren't in the books at all. Like I keep on going back to Fun with Dick and Jane, because, you know, it's like two little white kids, you know? Woohoo, look at them being perfect. But then there was a book in 1948 that won the Newbery Honor Award for 1949, and it was called Story of the Negro by Arna Bontemps, or Temp. Yeah, Temp. And so that was like the first book like first multicultural book to win an award. Now it's like a big groundbreaking thing, and it was the start of the multicultural literature children's lit movement. And after that, a lot more multicultural authors began getting published because of the popularity and success of that book. So in the 1950s, books started having, like, it was still there because, the civil rights movement hadn't totally come in and started changing things yet, but there was less and less stereotyping and racism. And in 1950, there was the first Caldecott winner that had a Latino protagonist, so that was cool. And then 1950 and 1953, there's Latino, African American, and Native American heroes that won in the books that got awards.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we all know in the 1960s when the civil rights movement began, there's a lot more awareness and sensitivities, and they started publishing more articles. There's one that was called The All-White World of Children's Books in 1965 that kind of brought a lot more of this to light about the awareness of the lack of multicultural representation. And then 1966, there was the Council of Interracial Books for Children that was formed, and they actually worked with editors to kind of be aware of multicultural protagonists and prevent a lot of stereotypes. Like, they would go through books with them and be like, oh, that's racist, or hey, maybe we can bring in some more different cultures in this. So it's cool that they formed a whole foundation about that. And they also held a lot of contests every year for people they're POC or person of color authors. That's just what they labeled it. In 1969, there was the Coretta Scott King Award that was just for African American authors, so there's a lot more celebration of that. And then the rest of the article just kind of goes on about more especially in the 90s and the 2000s, where a lot more multicultural authors have been celebrated and been getting these awards. There's a Chinese American to get the Caldecott in 1990. There's a Japanese, Korean. So it's just going through a lot of that. So it's really come a long way in a pretty short time. So it's just about 60 years or so. 70 years. 70 years, I think. 60 or 70 years. But it's just we went from having very little representation or none at all or very bad representation of other cultures to all these authors getting to share their perspectives and their stories and being celebrated for it. So yeah, that was pretty cool. A lot of history,
Yeah. I like how the awards kind of built on each other. We'll start with this award, and then more books got published, and then it was oh, we'll make new ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the
Inclusion.
books that get awards are always a lot more popular, and then they're okay, why did it win that award? Let's publish more like it, so.
Well, and that's one of the things they talk about in the Rethinking Schools is an award-winning book. It kind of adds to that, I don't know, the authenticity and whatnot.
Yeah, it's been checked out and read and everything.
Yeah.
Remember those big silver things on books, and it's we got this award, and it's okay, it's gonna be a good book.
Yeah. It's funny how just putting a big silver sticker on something makes it a good book, but
Put it on.
There's the Newbery Award and all sorts of.
Oh, I know, I just can't keep track.
Yeah, I can't remember most of them. But.
Yeah, but I'm glad they're awarding authors and illustrators.
Yeah, that they're, and apparently it's been working because a lot
more books are getting published.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my little part of chapter 15.
It's kind of weird, this is kind of random, but to think about how many books are out there that you may have not even heard of too.
Yeah. I haven't heard of some of the books you're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
I really want to read them now.
I lived at the libraries during summer, so.
I didn't like reading when I was younger, just because it was forced on you.
Yeah.
And you'd have to be tested, the AT testing kind of thing. So you read a book and then you get like a computer
AR
test.
readers?
AR, there we go.
Yeah.
Like a little test on it.
It's funny. It's like I can still
Okay.
see some of these books and remember how many points they were worth. Like, oh, there's Banicula. That was worth 2 points back in middle school.
And it kind of made it more of a competition than like
Mhm.
actually reading.
You got a
just to-
star. You
Ugh,
got a
I
star.
hate that.
My school did the AR thing too, and they had like these little words. Oh, so and so has this many points, and they would like post things on the wall.
But
And
then there's problems with that because then
Yeah.
like I would pick like the easiest book.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, this one's like 5 pages. Like, let's get it.
yeah,
And just like bust that.
Ugh.
So I wouldn't pick books that were actually challenging.
Right. Like, they think they want to, like, tempt you with, like, look at this one. It's challenging, but it's worth 10 points. Think of how many little Power Ranger erasers you could get with those 10 points, you know?
I think if they like wanted to make that program better, they wouldn't make it a competition, or they would just have like a graph showing like, you know, this is how you did this week or this week.
self comparison.
Yeah, and it's like this is how you compare to like your entire class, not just like one person,
Mm.
or not even at all.
Yeah, maybe, like, even no comparisons. You know, just, like, this is how you're doing. Just focus on your learning.
Yeah, and it's like here's some good suggestions, like kind of like Netflix.
Yeah.
How you, like, read
Yeah.
one, and then it,
Book
like,
flicks
gives
or
you more
something.
ideas about what
Yeah.
books you would like. So, because I always felt like I didn't want to read the books that teachers were like, you should read it because it's gonna be good.
I
Okay.
I always hated being like assigned reading books.
Mm.
Why?
I might have enjoyed it had I not been told to read
Yeah.
it, and like
Yeah.
been told you have to read this much this time, this much this time.
It'd
Like-
be a pain.
I always found when I got to choose the book, it made me want to read it more and like, okay, this is my choice. You're not telling me I have to read this.
Yeah. It's funny how, like, even that mentality has continued into college, you know? Like, oh, I have to read this instead. But then, like, you start reading the article and, like, this is actually really good.
Yeah.
But, like, just being told that you have to read this, you know?
Yeah, like the first time I actually got to like choose my own book was in like AP Psych when I was in high school, and it was like a long list, and it was like you have to pick 2 books out of this long list that you think you'll enjoy, and I was like, okay, like here's some freedom.
Hey.
Uh-huh.
So it's like I'd start one book and be like, this sucks, and like pick a different one and be like, all right, this is relatable. But it was
Yeah.
nice having like a choice of what I could read because she obviously read all of them and decided that they were all worth reading. But